Mr. Speaker, during the last days of the Civil War, the government of Sri Lanka killed thousands of Tamil non-combatant refugees. International United Nations human rights organizations have condemned the Sri Lankan government's cover-up. This government did nothing when thousands of people were butchered. Will the Prime Minister take steps today to urge Commonwealth to revoke Sri Lanka's membership until it holds the proprietors to account and they're judged in international courts? Will he support calls for international community for action against the Sri Lankan government?
The Honourable Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Mr. Speaker, I can say that the Prime Minister has spoken out very loudly and very clearly on this very important issue of human rights. I have certainly relayed the Government of Canada's position to both the High Commissioner and directly to my counterpart, the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Sri Lanka, to express our concerns on the lack of accountability for the serious allegations of war crimes, the lack of reconciliation with the Tamil community, and with the events that have taken place since the end of the Civil War. Canada will continue to speak loudly and clearly on behalf of human rights around the world, especially in Sri Lanka, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, last night I joined MPs from all parties in hosting a screening of the documentary Sri Lanka's Killing Fields. It moved me as it did everyone else there. Sadly, Canada and the rest of the world has stood idly by for far too long. Human rights organizations around the world are calling on the United Nations to launch an independent inquiry into the possibility of war crimes and crimes against humanity in Sri Lanka. A Conservative MP helped sponsor the event last night. Will his government now stand up in this House today and finally commit to fighting for justice for Sri Lankans and call for this United Nations inquiry?
Order. The Honourable Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Well, Mr. Speaker, we didn't sit idly by at the United Nations on Monday, where I brought the plight of human rights violations to the floor of the General Assembly. The Prime Minister didn't sit back idly when he expressed grave concern about attending a future summit of the Commonwealth in Colombo. We didn't sit idly by when we spoke with the High Commissioner to Sri Lanka and raised our concerns. I didn't sit idly by last week when I met the Foreign Minister of Sri Lanka to express our significant concerns. We haven't sat idly by. We will continue to stand up, do the right thing, and fight for human rights around the world, especially in Sri Lanka, Mr. Speaker.